I have two things to say. One of them people are not going to hear. So I'm going to give you the first thing first. Congratulations to those people within the school district and transportation and different things like that got a $2 raise. I don't know what that brings your hourly or yearly up to, but that's a step in the right direction versus the medical field, which I've known certain people that have gotten like 50-cent raises, $1.50 raises, $1 raise every year, $1.25, $1.50, or with regards to some places have given people 25 cents. So congratulations to that increase in the hourly. That would, I guess, I don't know why they decided, if they're having a matter of conscience, or if they got funding, or if they know they just needed to do right by their employees, and so or people who work or contract for them, so they're trying to do improve. But congratulations to be closer to living wage if you're not already making that according to statistics, data out there. Now, the other thing, I just think it's very strange. It's extremely strange to me. I get some people saying, well, you said you didn't want to hear from the politicians. What did the troopers, units, and stuff have to say with regards to that shooting that took place at the DMV? They still didn't give reason why a person will walk into a place in the daylight, target them, and shoot them. In addition to that, I understand he's what? You said 34 was Charlie Kirk, 34, 35. He had 2 daughters. This other guy has 1 daughter. Charlie has done a lot of things that the other person hasn't done a lot of things. But I genuinely recall being physically in Wilmington and at city council meetings with regard to open to the public, and there were plenty of veterans and the widows and widowers of firemen who work and women who work for the fire department and people who work for the police department, who they were only getting, like, did they say 14,000 or 16,000 a year? It's a magnanimous number in comparison to those who raised for the foundation for that trooper and his family $350,000. I know it takes money to take care of a wife and children, a wife and a child even, and a legacy, but I do think that consideration, maybe even on the public's part, or maybe even on people's part, people who were willing to donate. But I wonder, what about the veterans? What about those who also lost their lives in the line of duty, who, and I'm not saying, oh, just because this guy's young or has a family, but I thought that was strange to be having, not just, of course, people have the right to do a vigil, and you're projecting more people coming out for the funeral. I thought it was strange to cancel school on account of the consideration of traffic. Kudos for pre-planning, because the other day, I think it was maybe it wasn't Christmas Day, but New Year's Day, there were workers at Amazon and workers all out there at the bus, and the bus wasn't running, and they lived down in Dover, and I was in Middletown, and the buses weren't running, and they had been waiting, and then obviously contacted. I consider giving them a ride, but one of their co-workers actually came out too, and then, but even that, so that kind of pre-planning is awesome. However, in the pre-planning of, say, hey, there's going to be traffic because you are projecting it from the vigil or from the friends, there have been many people who have been like so-called pillars in the community or in education who have lost their lives, and it's not to say that people haven't cared or they haven't given this same kind of attention to it, but you didn't even give the whole matter as to what would happen and why that took place, as well as now, like, okay, the Christian school district is doing the school day virtually because of the considerations of traffic. And I just thought to myself, well, what time do schools in that district start, or in the area where the funeral would be? Because I saw that for the public viewing, what it was at 9 a.m. to 12, and then the services would be complete by 3. It's a lot of planning and intention for an officer, for a trooper that you're considering. And it would be great then if there was that equal consideration to those who are even still now widows and widowers, and those who need monthly provision and yearly provision, who are veterans, and widows and widowers are veterans, as well as the consideration for school and virtual school and other extenuating circumstances for other individuals. Just, like when there's funerals, when other people have funerals, we don't just get to go virtually. Maybe you add FMLA time to school plans and things. There's just a lot to consider with regards to, we're making all this efforts for a young trooper who lost his life pushing someone out of the way when he was the target, and we didn't give the reason why this man was the target. No heart to the wife and the children, but the wife and his wife and his daughter, and there is a whole matter, and there's so many people who are and have in this state lost their life every day, and we didn't go all out for that. And I'm not saying it's not because you're not trying to consider doing better, and could be more considerate, but consider the veterans who are currently, and consider the firefighters, and consider the officers, and consider those widows and those widowers, and consider their yearly salaries, and consider their needs as well. Consider other teachers and other educators and other people. And when people are in mourning, and when people are in so many instances, and they have funerals, do we give more time for FMLA then, if we're not going to have this kind of funeral for every single person that dies in the line of duty? And to give honor to those who died in the line of duty, if we want to give so much honor to this individual. I'm sure other people didn't consider the different things of age and Kirk and other people, but it's also those things are strange to me. If you were a target, why were you a target? And why are we not giving the whole matter on that circumstance? Why are people are willing to pour all out for this individual, but there are so many veterans that there are programs that have been doing more work and more productive and efficient work here in the state. However, there's still a lot of veterans, a lot of widows and widowers who have been impacted by their spouses dying in the line of duty here in this state alone, and even in this last year, and in the last several years. And so it's and I mean last year as in if you count a whole year, but anyway, those things are it's strange to me to go all out in canceling school or making school virtual, when we don't give those considerations to other people mourning, even in regards to, I don't know if it was someone, I don't know anyone, but if there was someone who the people in the state was like, oh, that was a good leader, that was a good public servant, and we just want to give recognition to them. I haven't even heard of that being done in this state in such instances. And again, it's not to disregard the wife and his daughter, but I think it's strange. I think it's strange that people aren't talking about those things. I think it's strange that they are not considering all these other veterans and widowers in the same way. I think it's strange to be willing to go virtual for the funeral day of one individual It's not that just one doesn't matter or is more important than the others, but also that it's strange to be a respecter of persons in such a way. I think that's very strange. Anyway, shalom. Peace be with you all. And yeah, I don't live in Christianity school district, and nonetheless, even outside of that, it's yeah, every day a fighter goes into a fire, goes into emergencies, like everyday doctors, and so it's again, not taking away from that. Why were you a target? Why won't the state explain as to why you're a target? Their weapon wasn't aimed at other people. Like, why were you specifically targeted? And why would they go? You were so much that they went during the daylight, and they haven't explained that. And then to honor you in such a way that they have not honored so many of our veterans and so many people who have lost their lives in the line of duty in this state, or even risking their lives daily to go into fires. And if any of that, it's in emergencies, immediate threat in life-threatening circumstances, but also veterans in need and who are not even getting meeting the poverty line. That's the biggest strangest things to me of all. Like, they're not even meeting the poverty line with what they're receiving in pension, and they've gone and expressed that repeatedly at city council for different reasons at different points in time. So that's strange to me. And I'm not saying that Elohim doesn't want to give a blessing to that man's family. And other people felt such a way, and why is there so much of difference with regard to that individual versus others?